pain. I'm going to be in pain. We're all going to be in pain. It's a suffering experience.
We're all in this together.
Linkara, yay.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 557, Star Wars The Last Jedi Comic Adaptation Part 3 Atop the Fourth Wall. And I've just been reminded that we did cover the first two parts, must have been a year or two ago, and we gave up on it because it was so painful and bad and annoying and slow. We just didn't want to do it anymore. And now we're doing the rest of it. So good for us. I don't know. I tried listening to 5 seconds. I immediately turned the volume down. I can't physically take his voice. It hurts my ears for some reason. And I'll try if I physically can't do it, I'll have to take a break and you guys can take over for me. It's that bad. So I don't know. It's just it's something wrong with my ears, or
just think about the green M&M. Yeah, you don't know the legend?
I don't want to know the legend.
Okay, you don't want to. Okay, it's not safe for work.
I think I've forgotten the joke and I don't want to remember it. So that's good.
All right,
for me.
I will save you.
Thank you.
Your issue with his voice is my issue with every telephone call.
Yeah, but Wisp, we don't have like Spock ears all the time. We have to actually interact with humans.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so.
I envy you.
Okay, yeah, our human hearing is normal. Yours is hypersensitive, I know. Anyway.
No, it's just, it's not. It's just not filtered.
Oh.
Can we pitch shift the YouTube video?
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to help. It'll
deepen the what?
Slow it down. Yeah, I don't want to be here too long. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, this video specifically came out at the end of 2019. Has about 42,000 views, and I already downvoted it. So I must have watched it years ago. So, yeah, that's how much I didn't like it. Comic book adaptations from movies are usually not that good. I have read a few that were good. They're from TV series. The Smallville one was okay. And believe it or not, the Angel one expanded upon the ending. So it continued the ending, which was kind of cool. They did a lot of cool things in that comic. So there are exceptions to going from movie to book or comic book. So you're not necessarily downgrading. You're just changing the medium, which allows new writers to come in and fix things, which is always nice. In this case, I think they did actually fix a few things in the comic from the first episode, at least that I recall watching this years ago. I don't remember what it was, but they clarified some stuff with Rey. And that was a big thing on Bounding into Comics at the time. So,
to fix this, you have to rewrite everything.
Not really. You sort of take one thing where like Rey has a little monologue in her head. And you have to, she's thinking about this, or, she's trying to do that, and she can't, and then she figures out how to do it. And then, okay, she's struggling internally, which is better than nothing, but it's still kind of weird. So stuff like that was like, okay, it's good to have that. You don't really get that in a movie unless they do actually have a narration of the character's thoughts, which is pretty rare these days.
May I say that for this super big franchise, this comic looks lazily drawn and even more lazily colored.
Or the fact they cut Luke
Listen, Wisp. You need to understand a very small indie studio made these movies, so you can't expect them to have it in the budget to hire talented artists for their comics. Like you need to realize that.
I think it's nice to know that the writer of this comic, which was just adapting the movie to the comic, is probably more talented than the guy who wrote the screenplay for the movie. So
I don't think that's an achievement.
No, but it does make you at least want to try reading it, because it's going from crap to like readable crap, right?
No, it redeems the crap, and I don't want that.
I don't think it redeems it. I think it goes, wow, anyone could do better than the other guy. I'll figure that out. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay from that angle, but why would I want to bother with something that is related to the initial carpet fire?
Think of it this way. Think of reading a comic book version of The Room. Okay?
Yeah, but that would still be entertaining, because that's cringe fun.
Now try to imagine what comic book Tommy Wiseau would look like.
Yeah, like a JoJo character.
That'd be funny.
See, now I suddenly want a comic book of the Room, or not only that, but a continuation of the Room. Whether Tommy gets up and
Let's see.
and does
It is the Star Wars movie. They're not for cringe watches.
You see, they take the deleted ending where Tommy was a vampire the whole time.
Yes.
But now he's on Mark's
he is Dio.
He's Dio.
What would
Danny.
Johnny's stand name be?
How's your sex life?
Probably.
No, it's got to be a song title.
Oh right. I don't know.
We'll let the doggy out.
Unless Sex Life is a song title.
Sex Bomb.
be.
Yeah, no, sex. There's all kinds of great titles that are goofy. So yeah, you could choose.
Sexual Healing.
Oh, ooh. Hey, that could work. I just wondering what his stand power would be. I'm kind of curious.
Oh gosh.
Being able to have bullets pass through his skull, that'd probably be the.
It creates like an alternative reality.
It would have to do something about. It would have to do something to do with footballs.
Oh. Yeah, his stand would have the shoulder pads. He'd have like the jersey going, the helmet. That'd be awesome. Nice 80s long hair like a rocker. Oh, that'd be cool.
It would have the power to make. It would have the power to make you trip, and then after you trip, you disappear from the story entirely.
And
like the one psychiatrist did.
You get teleported to the realm of spoons, and you're impaled on a spoon.
Yes.
He throws spoons at people.
Throwing spoons and a TV.
Oh boy. All right. We're not all here, but we'll get started without Hawk. That's totally fine. I don't mind. He'll be fine. He'll understand the reasons for why we start early without him. Here is Jake the Surgeon. Hey Jake, how's it going? Hello there. How are you all doing today? I'm great. It's a wonderful Friday. Weather's been good. Hasn't been that busy, and I ate rather well, so things are good. Yeah. Thank you.
No, wait. It stands like Yoshikage Kira's stand, where it's like you touch a spoon, you vanish.
Oh.
Makes much more sense.
He has magical spoons that do a variety of different effects.
Just any spoon he touches that you touch, you'll vanish out of the plot.
Okay. I'd love to brainstorm more about what we can do with a fanfic of Tommy Wiseau, the continued The Room series, but we gotta get started here with this video.
Do we have to get started with this video?
Personally, no, but this is what everyone wanted, and we actually got a vote going, and we got a lot of people involved. So it's like, hey, we're organized. We want to do this.
We're like
we're gonna do it for the Lightbringer.
We have 10% desire to do this. That's more than what we usually have, so that's pretty impressive on my end.
What are we, some kind of Smudcast?
Sometimes not really. No, we don't want to be here. I don't want to be here sometimes. Anyway, 20 minutes and a half. Let's get started.
With the Resistance transports being destroyed and Skywalker's location known...
I gotta change the volume.
I forgot how much I hated Linkara's voice.
I'm so sorry, guys. This voice is just very painful. Let's try this again.
This is part of why... I think this is part of why I stopped, because I used to watch Top the Fourth Wall many, many moons ago. Back
why?
when... Because I was a dumb kid. This was back when Channel Awesome was like the thing.
Pretty sure half of the people watching Channel Awesome just watch it to just get a shortcut of pirating the movie or a comic.
I usually watch Spoonie, but I don't think I've watched any Linkara video other than the collaborations.
All I remember is that silly gif of him running across the highway. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like a gif that he wants the internet to be deleted.
I don't know what it's from, though. I can't recall.
Oh, I know. It's a collaboration he did with the Nostalgia Curriculum.
Oh, the Blood Rain one, I think.
Yes, that's the one from Uwe Boll. The best German director, yes, Wisp. I can hear you all the way
money
from
launderer.
What?
Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll, yeah.
Ugh,
He made Postal, the best movie ever.
that may be an exception.
Game came first.
All
And
right.
Alone in the Dark, starring
Of
Christian
course,
Slater.
Uwe Boll only made games allegedly based on video games.
All right.
And
Let's...
Rampage, which I don't think had anything to do with the game Rampage. It was just some guy shooting up a mall.
Most of his movies didn't have anything to do with the games they claimed to be. He was basically the forerunner of what all these companies are doing now, just without the woke shit inserted.
Yeah, money
Well,
laundering.
yeah, except I don't think Rampage, his movie, was even supposed to be a tie-in to the movie Rampage. It was just a guy shooting up a mall. As opposed to the actual movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that was supposed to be an adaptation of the video game Rampage. Does
Why is
anybody remember that?
Oh yeah, that
I
boy.
remember that.
That was a thing that happened.
Why is the mall one sound more interesting somehow?
That was the closest I think Uwe Boll ever came to making a movie that wasn't universally despised.
What are you talking about? Postal is way better than that. I mean, like, Postal, the movie, is actually adored by the studio that made the game, so...
All
Yeah,
right.
but the
Yeah.
studio that made the games also made Postal 2.
Yes, the best game ever.
Did they also make Postal 3?
No, that was a Russian developer. Like, that's the one of the two games that Running with Scissors never made themselves. They only commissioned.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's yeah.
All right. Here is Jake the Surgeon again. My stand would be Decadence, where I have the ability to make a Dio's coffin make sense. Oh. Okay.
Makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense right now.
I think it's all
It's a
those
coffin.
particles.
What doesn't make sense about it?
The particles that come out of it, the purple fog. I don't know. Why? I don't know.
What part? I don't understand. What part
Oh,
of
the secret
what part of
compartment.
Dio's?
Oh, it's the secret compartment.
Oh,
That makes
okay.
sense. Like, wouldn't you have like a fail?
That it probably means the thing that happened in part 1, where Arena, is that the woman's name? Escapes in the same coffin, but Dio supposedly uses the same coffin that Arena escaped from. That is stupid.
All right. Well, let's get back to Linkara.
Snow tries desperately to attack him, but he orders Kylo to finally kill Rey to complete his training. Hey, Supreme Leader, you remember how you said the deed split me? Yes.
Oh God,
Why?
he looks the way he
I know
sounds.
you are, but what am I? And yes, with Snoke having placed Luke's lightsaber next to him.
Okay, I got to turn the volume down one more time. It is
The
physically.
volume is really high.
He got worse looking over the years.
It is
somehow.
physically hurting my ears. I don't know why. It just sounds like there's this little punching
Who?
feeling in my ears. Okay, let's keep going.
Who got? Wait, Linkara got worse looking.
He
He
wasn't
showed
this-
up on screen. Okay.
It's just he wasn't that fucking big looking.
You mean he got fat?
Yep.
He was always fat.
I think he looks
Yeah.
exactly the way he sounds.
Always pudgy, at
It's
least.
just the face got worse.
Well, ever since he
It's called
hates
Aging.
conservatives.
Oh,
All right, let's keep going.
He's like 40 now.
Yeah.
oh Jesus Christ!
Can we ignore this Star Wars scene, please? It's ridiculous.
Let's go.
Activates it from afar and slices him in half, pulling the lightsaber over so Rey can grab it. One of the other things I like about this movie, they do a lot of fun stuff with lightsaber combat. Although that does bring to mind the old joke, in a lightsaber duel.
I
A
see what
lot
you
of
mean with
fun.
this voice.
There's like one lightsaber duel in the entire movie, and it sucks.
Yes. Yeah, it was only that one, right? Or...
Well, real.
As far as
yeah.
I know, the throne room scene is the only lightsaber fight in the whole movie.
Yeah. And why is
It's
he
a
talking?
fight, yeah, but not a duel.
Why is he
The
talking
other thing
about?
is, it's just nonsense on the island.
But why is he talking about the movie? We're talking about the comic book, dude. Why is like?
Because apparently these scenes are in the comic book.
Think of it like deleted scenes that should have been in the movie. begs the question: why the fuck did they delete them?
Yeah, this is the worst choreographed lightsaber fight probably we've ever seen in Star Wars. That's including all the.
We should forgive them because they didn't have enough time.
No. That's
Smud,
unfair,
hold on
Smud.
a second. Hold on a second, Smud. I think you're forgetting. In 1977, a stormtrooper bumped his head on a doorway. Okay.
Star Wars was always silly.
Star Wars was always badly choreographed.
Oh,
But I'd rather say it's one of
Because
the
in that one fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin, they spun their lightsabers for half a second. Have you ever seen that GIF where it's like that GIF on a loop of them spinning their lightsabers and it looks a little bit silly? And that's like it gets put on a half a second loop. I think it's in Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Because they're fighting each other. And it gets put on like a half a second loop to make it look worse. And somehow that's supposed to prove that actually that's a terrible fight. And Star Wars has always had bad fight choreography, so just ignore that they had to airbrush a knife out of a scene.
Yeah, it's a whole different level. And that TLJ fight scene, I think it's unfair to call it just a bad lightsaber choreographed fight. It is for one of these AAA movies, one of the worst choreographed fight scenes in history. In history of movie making.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
All right. Legacy.
I saw my favorite piece of advice for that scene for just getting an idea of how terrible it is. Watch the scene, just pick a guard, one guard, and watch what that guard is doing. And then do that for look over it for every single guard in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And none of what any of them are doing makes any sense.
Well,
they just will step out of frame and cease to exist until it's their turn again.
Yeah, I mean that is the case in many movies. If you do that, because I'm drawn to those kind of things. But in that scene, it's extreme.
Yeah, the guards.
It's obvious. Other movies, they manage to I don't know what the English word is. That they tend to blend that in somewhat. There they don't at all. They don't even try. They're just standing there confused.
Well, yeah, you can see them waiting for the actors to hit their marks to do what they're supposed to do.
Well, not to belabor the point, we should be talking about the video and the comic, but even the actual actors, what they do doesn't make sense, and what they don't do as well. So,
in contrast, watch the fan film Darth Maul, and you get a much better choreographed fight scene. Also, much better acting.
All right. Legacy, thank you, sir. This might be inappropriate, but whoever decided to give their Sith clone whatever and dress it in yellow, it's more ugly than his face. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All right.
It was golden piss.
No, it's just he just had to put something on, so he just put a shower robe on, I guess.
It's non-dairy.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, Mike. That's it. It's a golden shower robe.
It's like that's not what he was wearing in the fucking last film, and then now it's just hey, it's me, Snoke. Don't pay mind to my golden shower cap. It's like this isn't Snoke.
All right. Anyway, Linkara has horrible taste and doesn't understand fight choreography. That's fair. We'll keep going.
The Force to turn off the opponent's lightsaber. Snoke.
Oh, okay. So that's a question that has been asked many times. And why can't the Force user turn off the lightsaber of the other guy with his mind and then stab him?
That sounds like a great comedy skit.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Drew Karpyshyn dealt with this sort of issue in the first Bane book, I believe, where Bane, he's in the Temple of Korriban, and he's training. Like the first thing Force users are trained is defensive Force powers, which is this bubble around the body, so that Force does not really work against you very well, or if at all. The problem with that is the movies are sort of contradicting that within episode 3. The scene where Obi-Wan gets thrown across the room and into that platform where it crushes his legs. That's when he and Anakin are they're pinning Dooku together, and Dooku just sort of does this force thing against Obi-Wan, and he sort of levitates there for like 3 seconds. He's flailing his arms and legs, then Dooku throws him across the room. That would contradict that, I assume, but it goes the same with why doesn't...
You could wobble around that with it's supposed to work, but that doesn't mean it will always. And when we then we can further excuse that with the Jedi have gone decadent, blah de blah, and you get the sloppy training or something.
Yeah, and the same reason why Darth Vader doesn't choke Luke or anyone else he's fighting with at the same time, because they have a supposedly force bubble or force field around them. So at least the EU sort of dealt with that, and that's a lot of problems with Star Wars as a whole, because you take other writers and they go, wait a second, if you're telekinetic, you can do shit. And then Chris Avlon goes, yeah, that's a huge problem. We got to change that up. Drew Karpyshyn, the same deal. People who are like, oh, science fiction, I know what the hell I'm doing. So that's when it gets problematic with all these little details that don't make any sense. So we had that solved with the EU until it was removed, unfortunately. But there's also a technique, the opposite of turning off someone else's lightsaber, turning your own lightsaber off, and that's called Trikata. And we saw that with, what was her name again? She meditates. She turns off her lightsaber and meditates in the Clone Wars. And then she fights without using her lightsaber. Ahsoka. There we go. I can't remember what episode. So there's techniques for turning it off, and I don't know if that's a Jedi thing, or maybe even the Sith could do that. I don't know. But
you mean taking the lightsaber apart?
No. Turning yours off and going to this weird meditative state, and then just fighting without your lightsaber. It's a thing that is an actual technique in the EU called Trikata.
I think I've forgotten that. that episode.
Yeah, there's other... Like, I remember, because I covered these videos, well, we covered the first two, and I remember researching whatever he was talking about, and there's actually a species called the Yuzan Vong, I believe. And holy hell.
Whoa.
Someone
Don't worry, everything's fine.
Did you guess the number of jelly beans in your jar finally? She got pissed off and shattered the glass.
No, there was something on my window, so I just closed the window before because there's a bunch of drunken students outside on the street gathering. And I have no idea why, because there's absolutely nothing interesting in this part of town that sells alcohol.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Now they're sitting on the street in 2 half circles, and I don't know what they're doing. They'll probably start fucking in a bit.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Anyway, like
we have
2
some...
half circles, like a circle.
We have some Christopher Street Day bullshit tomorrow, so they're probably all gay.
Awesome. I think. Okay. Anyway, what was
I don't know. That'll just lead to monkeypox. Affenpocken.
Germany.
All right. Well, I was going to say there's this alien species that the Force users could not sense, that did not have the Force within them, and Force abilities did not work against them as well. And I'm trying to remember where they were from, but I just see them right now on the Wikipedia. So these things do exist. You just have to research them, but doubt it anyone doing the Star Wars films or any of the series would care. So anyway.
Is dead. Oh no! Now we'll never learn Snoke's elaborate backstory where he was actually Darth Plagueis and has been manipulating events since episode 1.
Let's use a funny voice to mock the idea that it's important to understand the context for how the entire Republic was destroyed in one shot by some guy we'd never seen before.
Or see again.
That's the
Joke's
problem.
on you.
They do this whole... Every single sequel defender does this nonsense where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. The Emperor never had a backstory. The Emperor didn't need a backstory. The Emperor was the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
There was an empire. It had an emperor. That is a logical conclusion to come to. That is the status quo of the universe. The problem is here, we established a new status quo at the end of Return of the Jedi, and then everything was reset 30 years later, and we need to know why.
Mm-hmm. Which might actually be the more interesting story.
Oh, it would have been a way more interesting story.
No,
To
like
know
you
the
see,
plot
like
of characters.
the First Order has destroyed all the Republic with that one laser beam, which destroyed like 5 planets. That was the entirety of the Republic. Because now it's like a system of 5 planets.
All right, guys. Here's a super chat from Todd Howard. Thank you, sir. Keep in mind, if Linkara complains about sexism against Rey, remember this is the same man who wrote Angel Armor. I don't know what that is. Does anyone know Angel?
You don't want to know. Like, you really don't want to know.
Didn't he write his main character in Lightbringer running away from someone getting raped? And didn't even say, lovely. Oh, I don't want this guy to tell me what sexism is. Okay.
And the green M&M.
Okay. Anyway, also Smud, wondering how the beef between you and Pog is going. I think I've done all I can. If he doesn't want to reply, if he doesn't want to get back to me, that's fair. I'm still getting replies to his video on my comments there, because I left like dozens, and people still either write to me saying yes or they like my comment. But that's he's off making his own bullshit and making shit up. I think his latest video was on, he reviewed the Obi-Wan series for sexism or racism or whatever.
He talked about why Reva is actually a really, really well-written character. And I flicked around in it for a while, and it's all talking about what other people are saying about Reva. It's not actually, like, nothing I saw was him talking about Reva.
Pog, she's not gonna marry you.
Yeah. And she should really change her name.
Yeah, I don't really care anymore. So we've given him lots of opportunity to talk to us. We have given him 3 videos. I've given him 3 podcasts from you guys, 3 videos from me. So we've given him 6 videos, and he only addressed the 1. And that's it. There's not much else we can do. So,
it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was fun. Like, just tearing holes into everything he said. Like, almost everything he said had a problem, which was weird. Because usually these guys are a little self-conscious, and, well.
To quote Jake Skywalker, everything you just said is wrong.
It's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But, I could do, imagine if Maggie May replied to me. Like, what would she say? She would just be like, oh, a bunch of sexist, misogynist, fascists from North America who haven't. It's like, well, one of us.
There would be the video title would be "Smudcast is bullshit."
I don't know. I feel.
And also, no. Finish your thought here.
Yeah, I feel I was about to do a video series just on Maggie May, because everything she says is crazy, or at least she has one crazy moment in her video that encapsulates how nutty she is, and the people that follow her don't care. They interpret her video in their own way. And you read all the comments, they're all randomly different. I'm like, how is this possible? How could you have so many different opinions on this crazy woman?
It's a schizoid cult of personality.
It's amazing.
Everything is twisted to function in the positive light towards the cult leader.
Yeah, when you watch any, like, I don't know, pick any good YouTuber that is very popular that makes consistent videos about a certain topic, like Star Wars. Everyone's like, yeah, I really like that scene. You really explained it very well. Or, they're all very clear on what they're saying. She's just random ideas, imagination going crazy, and then throw in fascism and other things that don't make any sense.
Please, everyone, note this frame we stopped on. It looks like a Wojak.
And I just want to say, who friggin' cares? Like, what if I care? What if I care about Snoke's backstory? What if it matters to me? What if I want to know?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just, too bad for you because I don't personally care? Me, Louis Lovehog from wherever, Minnesota or something?
We must care about everything that they care about, and we must not care about anything that they don't care about.
Oh, so
yeah.
Turmoil is telling us that Linkara is in fact married. Congratulations. I hope life has been altered and changed and influenced for the better. It happens to some guys.
I think we see her in the video, unfortunately.
By this time he's married?
Yes.
Yeah.
By this time, he is married.
Oh, okay. Probably didn't
Well,
work
I
too.
think
Good
like
for
he
him.
went a bit more crazy ever since he got married.
Okay.
What's the over under on him? On him deciding
God,
he's
he looks so
non-binary.
What? Oh no.
What?
Oh dear.
Help.
Does he have those opinions? Oh jeez.
I don't know. I'm just
I don't
saying.
care.
I'm just predicting he'll go full Sterling.
I don't fucking
I
care.
can't-
Yeah,
I
let's
can't
just move on with the
imagine
video.
After,
Is this guy's voice going, I'm non-binary.
can you imagine him doing voice training to be more female? Holy hell.
No. I don't know. His voice sounds like a gas station smells.
He smells like petroleum. Okay, let's keep going.
He sounds like
Cares!
petroleum.
As soon as he didn't turn out to be giant-sized, he just became some asshole.
Oh god.
I think expanded universe fans have become so used to every frickin' pencil in Star Wars having novel-length explanations.
No, it's less that EU fans expect lengthy explanations, and it's more that people who actually care about the story and how point A leads to point B want to know what point A was and how it led to point B, because it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two different things, but they have the same root. It is
Again,
how does it make sense?
Yeah, again, in the original movie, right, we hear the Emperor has dissolved the Senate. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away. That is what we hear in our introduction to Grand Moff Tarkin in the boardroom scene at the beginning of Star Wars, right? So we have established there is an empire. There is a rebellion against it. There is an emperor ruling over the empire. That is our status quo, right? We don't need to know how we got there because it's the beginning.
Yeah, there was no story before that at that
right.
point.
This is not the beginning. This is after the end. This is a new beginning. At the end of Star Wars Return of the Jedi, the Emperor dies. The rebellion wins. The Empire has been dealt a major crippling blow. Now, in the books, the Empire didn't disappear, and it would make sense for the Empire not to disappear because it's an empire. It's big. It's a lot of planets. But what happened in the books was a logical outgrowth of the Emperor being killed and his number 2 being killed. What happened was the remaining rulers of the old empire, you know, your Isards, your Grand Admiral Thrawns, your Admiral Pellions, all of these guys devolved into warring factions vying for control of the remnants of the empire that has been defeated, right? That is a logical progression from the destruction of the head of an intergalactic empire. What is not a logical progression from the destruction of the head of an intergalactic empire is some guy we've never heard of somehow amassing more power than the empire ever had without anybody noticing, and then killing everyone in the Republic and taking over. That is not a logical outgrowth.
And the Republic going all pacifist because it just had dealt one blow to the Empire, of which there are still tons of remnants.
Yeah, that's the
like imagine at the height of the Roman Empire, dealing a major blow to Rome that leaves Rome in ashes. There's still a lot of Roman Empire.
Yes, when Rome was... that's not even a hypothetical. Was it supposed to be a hypothetical?
Not really, no.
Okay, I was going to say, because that's what happened. Rome was sacked and the empire didn't vanish because there was still Byzantium.
All right.
Well, there's also the grandchildren of Genghis Khan after he perished. I and that cut up his empire, and then that went to war with itself.
Well,
it's kind of the natural progression.
The problem I see here with Linkara is he's having such an emotional reaction to the fans who think otherwise, as opposed to him criticizing the comic or analyzing the comic. Why is he so emotional and freaking out over a thing that he's not even arguing? He's just like, oh, these guys think this thing.
Because he has to justify the big check he got from Disney?
No. He's...
I think he's pathetic enough to shill without being paid for it, to be honest with you.
Oh, dear.
But I mean, I think you're right. I think it's a tribal thing where, you know, the bad tribe doesn't like Disney Star Wars, so he has to like Disney Star Wars.
He has to defend it without having an argument.
It's purely emotional reasoning. There's no logic.
Okay, we're talking about Linkara.
I only ever heard that name. This is the first time I see content of this person.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's keep going. Here's Action Jackson Waxon Taxing. Guys, leave the Lightbringer alone. He's clearly out of breath from running away from every sexual assault in Minnesota. Anyway, I'm sick of phonies and pretenders inserting themselves into a hobby, then trying to one-up the locals, and he is a pretender.
I mean, I think Linkara is an actual fan of comic books, and I think he would probably consider himself an actual existing fan of Star Wars. Now, I've never seen him talk about it because I don't pay attention to the goings-on of some fat guy from Minnesota or wherever he's from, but I think he's an actual fan. I think he's just dumb.
As seen by the thing on...
You mean he's a consumer? Here's next thing.
Not necessarily. I would say in regards to the defense of TLJ at least, because whenever we hear these guys talk about TLJ, it's the dumbest, most ignorant, most biased response.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And it's always the same.
Yeah, it's never about the arguments.
The thing he's unable to make a distinction between is the people who wrote around in the EU saw these things here and there in the movies and thought, that seems odd. How could this logically work? And that springs up a puzzle to be solved, and solving the puzzle leads to a creative new idea within the universe that makes it more consistent. Great, now we have better rules. And those rules spring up more new stories to write. What the Disney movies did was just do utterly random stuff that had no thought put into them in the first place beyond, this scene would look really cool if we did it right. With no regards to what of the now established things it would break. Because it's the same as with the story. We have established rules here now that are way more solid than they were when the first movies came out. And they're all broken. Just like the logic of the story is just broken. And anyone who complains that, but we didn't have any story about the backstory about the Emperor. The first time I had read the backstory of the Emperor was in the manual for the TIE Fighter game. Because it's that is explained there in the prologue of the manual. Because back then, video games still came with manuals, like little booklets, and they had lore in them.
TIE Fighter had a great manual.
Oh yeah, it has
great manual.
It had this whole short story in the front called "The Stunt" that explained why you got into the Empire as a pilot, and it also explains why you can actually win this game in a bloody TIE Fighter. Because that's technically impossible.
Oh man, TIE Fighter was great.
You know what?
Could you beat the game without the invincibility mode switched on?
What?
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing.
What's the invincibility? What? No.
You could just turn. You had the ability to just turn. You make yourself invincible.
Yeah. In TIE Fighter, it was default switched on.
Ooh.
Because your TIE Fighter has no shields and 2 hit points.
Yep.
And you have to down squadrons of A-wings, which are faster than you, have shields, and way more weapons. And missiles.
Yes. Missiles, which you didn't. So good luck dodging them for 30 seconds apiece.
Yeah, if you play it in X-Wing, when you activated the invincibility mode there, you wouldn't get any medals. In TIE Fighter, you did. Because if you played it without the invincibility mode and beat the game, you are the absolute Chad gamer from hell.
I bought both games back in the 90s and I beat them both, so I guess that was hard. I don't remember.
Maybe you didn't notice. I was just A-Wings were just annoying.
They were really fun games, but yeah, I don't remember that. Okay. Anyway. Back to Linkara.
I was like 6 when I played that.
Second by second details of their existence that they can't stand the idea that he was just some
Stop screaming.
Asshole. It's not Snokes Story.
It doesn't.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
yes, it is now. It joke's on you, dude.
It's only not Snokes Story because Rian Johnson chose not to make it Snokes Story.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been. It could have been the story of how Snoke took over. And you notice he goes right to the extreme where it can't just be we need an adequate explanation for, how this happened. It has to be we need novel-length backstory for every teeny-weeny little bit of lore that occurs everywhere. It can't just be, hey, how did this guy build an empire stronger than the empire ever was without anyone ever noticing it?
Yeah. I mean, we can, for example, we can see the original trilogy as Luke's story. We can also see the prequels together with the original trilogy as Anakin's story or as Palpatine's story. Because they are both characters that go through the entire thing.
Or Obi-Wan.
They're all primary and secondary characters in those stories.
That is true, yes. But you know the point. The point I'm trying to make is Snoke is such a relevant character to this story, but he's just shoved in there without sense. The story makes no sense. In order to make the story make sense, we need to know about Snoke. And if you had put in a bloody montage.
Yeah, just imagine, let's say in Dune, we don't know why the Baron Harkonnen is there. They don't introduce the concept of what the spice is, what the importance of Arrakis is. It's like, why is everyone fighting for this planet?
Which Dune movie?
Dune? The
David Lynch Dune?
Yeah, the original. Like, they didn't introduce why spice is so important. We'd be like, why is everyone fighting for this desert ball? Like, what's the point of this planet? Like, everyone would be totally confused as to no one would care. We'd be like, why are there giant worms? Why are there spaceships that look like birds? Like, what is this? What is the point of this? We need to know the basics.
And the thing is, he is not just some guy. He's the head of the villainous faction. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't need to know where Captain Phasma came from. Captain Phasma is someone. Captain Phasma's a soldier, right? Captain Phasma is a ranking soldier in the enemy army. We don't need a backstory for Captain Phasma.
She's also not in any way hasn't done anything special. She just has some weird shiny armor that she stole from a closet.
Right. But she's not. But like, Snoke is not just some guy. Snoke is the leader of the enemy faction.
Mm-hmm. Here's an example of because I only saw the David Lynch Dune once when I was a kid. What you describe is bad writing, it's bad setup, bad explanation, and the way I got introduced to Dune is through the Westwood strategy game, and the intro of that had everything in it. It opened up with Arrakis, the desert planet, spice, blah blah blah. Everyone fights over it. It's important.
Yeah, you need the basic setup.
The Westwood game had better writing in that regard.
Oh god, yeah. Even the trailers for Children of Dune, it was a miniseries on TV, so there was more content to pull from. But you knew why there were Sadukar. You knew why there were the ladies who could control your mind. Like all these things were set up. It's like, oh, this is what they want power and they can do that. And this guy wants power over there and he can do this. It's like, oh, we get it. We don't need to know how he got to the planet or how he traveled there because everyone has spaceships that use folding technology and giant worm navigator things. And like, we don't need to see that. We know they exist. It's like, oh, that's how they travel. Done. We don't need to know light speed or jump gates or warp speed. We don't need to know that. It's fine. We get it. Anyway, let's continue. Turmoil, thank you for the 2. Lewis used to be reasonable back in Marvel comic. I don't know who Lewis is. And I don't want Marvel.
Oh, that's Linkara.
Linkara is Lewis?
He looks like a Lewis.
Okay. Interesting. Did he write the Marvel comic? I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, cool. Good to know. Aurelian... okay. Natuis Kaisar. I can't pronounce that.
Hello.
Modern writing is done only to deconstruct because it's easier to destroy something than to build.
For one, yes. It is also part of the communist strategy.
I would
because
say
it needs to destroy all. It needs to destroy all cultures so that only its own is left.
It's easier to use your imagination first and then try to deconstruct something else as opposed to the other way around. Because when you construct something first, you're usually trying to solve a problem. And you're going, what's the issue? And you have a hypothesis. I think it's this. And you begin thinking and exploring along those lines until you discover that your hypothesis is wrong or the actual cause of the problem. And then
but that is deconstruction for a positive purpose. You want to put it together again afterwards and make something new, better, or repair it, or just understand it. That's okay. But what the deconstructionists do is they only take apart and then shit over the pieces.
I see the opposite as well, whereas they have a hypothesis that is in their mind, like Maggie May does, and then she tries to go backwards and try to find the pieces that try to support her claim. And it's like the little anecdote or a little scene of 2 seconds. She has to slow down and go, oh, this is a scene where Murphy clearly wants to be a female. Because
but that is just, oh God, what's the name for that? There's a name for that. Because that's just a logical fallacy.
Well,
she's just looking for confirmation bias with reverse logic.
Reverse, yes, it's reverse logic, or induction through deduction. I guess you want to call it that, but it's a silly idea, and we see that with material dialectic all the time. It's not even worth talking about. Anywho, apparently this is not Snokes Story. Okay, fair, fine, whatever.
You can set up your villains.
It's Rey's story. Return of the Jedi was not about the Emperor any more than it was about the Bothans who died to get that information.
No, you fucking hag. I saw Rise of Rey in what was it? Force Awakens.
Skywalker.
The first Disney.
Force Awakens.
Yes,
it was going to be Finn's movie.
I saw that crap in the cinema. Rey was not the main character. She was climbing around on walls in the background, basically all the time. She was a background character that was tagged along, or dragged along is the word. She didn't have agency in that movie. Fuck off. That wasn't her story. And it wasn't the story of the hero that's dragged along and pushed into a place. No. She's just a random Mary Sue that's dragged along and magically solves everything. Like, she's the magical creature.
I think the one time she had
what you usually have is you have this magical creature with you that gives you your Deus Ex Machinas in tight situations. But instead, Rey is that. And that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah,
because she should be the one having problems and to grow about. And occasionally, if you want to have your magical creature, it can be a comedy relief character as well. That should have done that. Not she herself. She just did everything.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
She has to fail or do something and try to correct the mistake. The problem is whenever she corrects the mistake, it's always the second try. And We saw that with the tentacle monster, where she closes a door and it's the wrong one, or she opens the door and then she has to press it again and boom, the door closes. She saves Finn. We see it with the blaster. She misses the first time, and then she scores the second time, and she's like, what the hell? How did that happen? She's fiddling around trying to solve the light drive or the light speed, and boom, she pulls out the compressor. Like, all these things are like, boom, and then like there's no real sense of, okay, now I have the ability to do something, and then boom, she does it. It's not, where do I solve the problem? How do I solve the problem? Where do I go to solve the problem?
I understand the game logic here. So she has an experience cheat where you have this like skill gain system, okay, like in Elder Scrolls games. But so she starts with skill level 1 of 100, and her experience cheat gives her endless experience for doing a thing once. So once she has done something and fails, she gets instantly jumped to level 100.
Yeah, it's like Skyrim, where it doesn't matter what, there's no classes. You just do anything, and then you do the thing the first time, and boom, you get all this experience. You're a master level, 100 out of 100 skill level, and now you could like open a door. You can jump really high. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. Anyway, back to Linkara bitching about episode 5? I don't remember.
He's a symbol! We didn't know anything about him in Return of the Jedi, other than he was just some asshole who was the real final boss because Vader became a figure who needed to be
So wait, you mean we knew that he was the Emperor and that he was the one who corrupted Darth Vader into evil?
We knew enough about him.
And we knew that he was built up over the course of the entire trilogy, starting with having dissolved the Senate and taken sole power in the galaxy, and that he's even worse than Darth Vader because Darth Vader chokes someone to death for letting the rebels get away and then says to the next guy, the Emperor isn't as forgiving as I am.
Yeah, that makes Vader turns out to just be the muscle. He just follows orders, if you will. Which means the guy who gives the orders is worse.
So we know a lot about the Emperor. They did a lot with a little, because like the writers of those screenplays knew how characters work.
Yes. Moving on.
And there was actually quite a bit going on with the Emperor that we could figure out just by paying attention to the story, and there's nothing you can do for that with Snoke, because all you know is that he corrupted Kylo Ren somehow, and somehow built a power even stronger than the Empire without anyone noticing.
Yeah, all we kind of
as we later learned in TLJ's nonsense, that it wasn't even Snoke who corrupted him, it was just him having nightmares and Luke acting out of character.
Well, in the comic,
he was basically retarded to begin with.
Yeah, well, in the comic, they changed it that he was there since the beginning on the island, not the island, on the temple with Luke. Luke wasn't aware of that, but he saved Kylo from the crazy whatever bullshit happened when Luke tried to kill him in his sleep. There's a scene of him being there and hugging or putting his arm around Kylo or something like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's in the comic.
Right.
I do know that like it turns out like it wasn't Kylo who killed off the entire temple.
Right.
It was like a lightning strike into the temple, and it all burned down.
Yeah,
nobody can be evil.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So the comic does add stuff which clarifies things, which would have been fine if they put onto the film. At least we'd have something to work with. But there's a big gap between episode 6 and 7 that we need filled in, and we don't get that with Snoke, unfortunately.
Right, because the Emperor was the status quo in the original Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to build up how he became the Emperor, you can do that. And, oh yeah, they did that. It was called the prequel trilogy. They built up how the Emperor became the Emperor.
You forget something else. The prequel trilogy had a setup, had a status quo, which was the Republic. We do not need to be told how the Republic came to be, because the Republic is 10,000 years old or some shit. It's always been there.
Yeah, and how
we don't need the establishment of that because we have nothing that came before it. It has nothing that it needs to tie into.
Yeah, the way that Palpatine got power was silly, but it made sense within the context of what they were trying to do as a whole to protect themselves. They say, hey, we need someone to be in charge of the army. Let's get a president or something. Oh, okay, we'll get an emperor, whatever. That comes later. We get where that comes from. It doesn't have to be some elaborate parliamentary process and all these people have to vote and it's like, yeah, no, it makes sense. They're scared. They want power. They want someone to consolidate it and protect them, which is what you do in a government anyway. So it's like, all right, yeah, makes sense. Good enough.
Right. And the thing is, like, the whole thing is when you accept certain things as the status quo of a story. The problem is when you establish a new status quo, you need to explain how it happened, but they don't do that. And you can't just say, well, this is the new status quo, because then you actually raise a lot of questions about how it got there when we already know what things were supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's why the prequels work, because you go further back in time where there's a new status quo, and that's fine. We get it.
Yeah, or imagine the prequels ending in a way that in no way allows for a tie-in to the original trilogy. It's just non-fitting puzzle pieces. Like, what the hell is this? It would have been
nice if Palpatine was not this crazy wizard, disgusting-looking dude like he looks in Episode 6. If he was just the same way and he got hurt or whatever, that would have been fine too. Because we don't need to know how he becomes all corrupt and looks like Skeleton Man.
Or they could have just made him look older to start with.
Sure.
So that we just get... So that the reveal is just that he's old.
Or just have him be an alien.
Yeah, that too. Just an alien who looked like people, but with wrinkly old people skin.
Alrighty.
Anyway.
Here's Aurelian again. Thank you, sir. The Emperor was pure personification of evil, pretty much. While Vader was flaws of man, his redemption through his son is a story as old as time. Sure, why not? Yeah. It's easy to grasp. And the Bhagavad Gita, the same setup is there. So it's not overly complicated. I think the water margin story in China does it too. So there's always a version of redemption through the father and the son. Fighting each other and coming to the realization that they need each other, they're part of family, and they're part of life. And good classic stuff if you guys ever do peruse the older books from thousands and thousands of years ago. But you don't have, like, it's obvious. It's family. Okay, we get it. We don't need that explained.
I'm still waiting for the Epic of Gilgamesh Volume 2 to be uncovered.
Hey, yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen, but...
So you're saying that ultimately Return of the Jedi was a film about family, and that's what's so powerful about it?
Parts of it, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Not sure about episodes 7, 8, and 9 though. That was kind of weird, but yeah. Anyway, keep on. We're only not even 2 minutes through. Holy hell!
Because he started off so dumb.
Oh, God. All right.
Because he can't go through it. He has to signal to the tribe, me good, because me lap up garbage.
All right.
Let's go to the 3-minute mark.
You want to skip this?
Let's go to the 19-minute
At this pace, we can probably reach there.
All right.
From when was
in
this
2 hours
thing?
No. I mean, I had the stream at the 3-minute mark.
There we go.
Go back to 120. We were at 120.
Only General Lays. Goodness.
Yeah. All right.
corruption and evil, something that had to be destroyed for him to turn back to the light. Here, Snoke is just a stand-in for the Emperor, to trick the audience into thinking we're telling the same story over again. Just like
But we are telling
Why
the
do you
same
have to trick
story
the
over
audience?
again.
Kylo's not Vader. He's a broken, sad, angry, but powerful little boy who thinks he can just burn everything down.
So he's Vader?
Wait a second. He's saying the Emperor and the Snoke are the same.
Kylo's not
audience.
Vader. He's just Vader.
But Kylo, he's not Vader. He's like, what?
No, Kylo's not Vader. He's Vader. See, it's different because it's a B.
Yeah, because Vader was calculating, while Kylo is just an emotional brat. Oh,
Vader had
totally
a mask
different.
on, but Kylo doesn't.
Well, I do like the fact that Snoke was like, you have to kill your dad to complete your training. And then the next movie, he's like, you killed your dad to complete your training.
Psych!
But
I
you
was
Now
suck
you
at
have
it.
to kill Rey to complete your training.
Now you have to kill this person to complete. Now you're going to kill Bob down the hall. Just going to keep killing people.
Now you have to kill Hux to complete your training.
I like Bob. Like, he always cleans up after my mess.
Now you have to kill Matt to complete your or
Now
whatever
you
his
have
name
to
was.
kill me to complete your training.
Who was his character in the SNL sketch where he was undercover?
Matt,
And then
the
Snoke
repair guy?
tells him Snoke tells him he has to kill Matt, the repair guy.
Yeah. Or the maintenance guy, whoever he
It
was.
sounds like biker gang indoctrination. You have to kill that guy down the street and you're a full member.
It's just this weird, like, if he was more valid or relevant to the plot, it'd be like, okay, what he's doing is pushing the plot along or making the main character, Kylo, do something that he's supposed to do or not do. It's like, okay, good. He's relevant, but he's just there. He has no purpose being there. We don't know how he got there. He's super powerful. Why was he chilling out for 40 years? We don't know. No one knows.
Yeah, like you have to assume he's somehow younger than 30 years old. Because he has to have built this entire empire in secret without anyone noticing over the last 30 years, which means, like, how did the Emperor never notice him?
Yeah, how did the First Order take over or begin to dismantle the Republic? How did they...
And, like, isn't the First Order supposed to have been built out of the remnants of the Empire? Which means, that has to have come from somewhere. So where did it come from?
Yeah, we needed like a 1 minute explanation of the history of episode 6 to 7. The first 10 years were like this. It was a big scramble. We didn't know what was going on. Then we started losing outposts. Then we started losing planets. Bump, ba-dum, ba-da. It's like, oh, so the First Order...
And we still wanted to stay pacifists.
Because the Republic are, a bunch of galactic politicians who just can't get anything done because they suck, right? Fine.
Proving the Republic was a mistake.
That would make sense because, Galactic Republic, imagine how fast things happen like that. So the First Order could build up steam. They get the ball going. They're planning a super
whole
weapon.
montage, the whole 1 minute montage of
Yeah.
the remnants of the Empire fought for dominance.
And Leia would be
one
narrating.
came out at the top.
Yeah, and we'd have this whole video montage of Kylo Ren knocking people over and blowing shit up, and they'll be like, yeah, that'd be great. Just give us the basics. And then Snoke appears. I've been waiting for 30 years, and now I will take my rightful place over my student or my teacher, the Emperor. Like, oh, really? He had a backup plan. Cool. That would have been nice. Something. Anything, really. Okay. Keep going.
And
himself the winner. He didn't turn on Snoke for redemption. He turned on him because he was always gonna turn on him. That is the
that doesn't
make any sense.
The problem is he's arguing purely from a meta perspective here, and not from an in-universe perspective.
Yeah,
is he constructing a straw man here?
It's a very dumb interpretation of the whole Sith thing. So that's what Sith do, right? They kill their masters.
This is another.
Well, and the argument is that he was going to kill Snoke because he was always going to kill Snoke, but that's from a storytelling perspective. That's what Snoke represents to the audience. That's not what he is in the story.
Especially
because when you write a story like that has characters in it, the characters need to have motivations, and they need to have a place, and they need to like exist for a reason.
Right, and that's what happens in the comic, where Snoke befriends Kylo and protects him and takes him away. So there's a whole setup in the comic that the movie doesn't have, and he's just arguing from the movie's perspective of what happened years ago when he watched TLJ. As opposed to saying, look, in the comic, Snoke actually helps Kylo. This wasn't in the film, and that's why the comic is better, because it does more. And you're like, yes, that's an argument. You can make that. It's adding stuff that we didn't get. Even if that addition isn't much, it's still something to argue because we didn't get that in the film, and everyone knows the film is empty as hell. We don't know what's going on. So he's not doing that. And I'm sure you guys could find on Google image search Snoke and Kylo in the comics, and there's a scene of the fire that's blowing up the temple or attacking the temple and him. I think he's in like a brown robe or some sort of thing, and he's tall dude. He's a tall man, and he's hugging or reaching out to Kylo. So yeah, that's stuff we would like to have had in the movie, but it wouldn't have solved all the problems. It would have just added some stuff to connect the pieces.
If all you want to do with your movie is show us cool scenes that look cool, pay some attention to the choreography.
Yeah, using JJ as a base and then having Ryan just do whatever he wanted was a bad combination.
You know, it doesn't look cool because you say it looks cool.
You know, the first 10 minutes of episode 7 was pretty good. I was like, you're setting it up. Everything's looking good. You know, we got badass villain. We got Finn escaping. We got all these cool things going on. Reys is getting introduced. Like, okay. And then it just goes downhill from there.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty okay setup.
Yeah.
It rose to the level of okay.
Well, that was kind of what JJ had in mind, right? He just wanted to not do the prequels. So he looked to the originals and said, let's just do that. And that was
So then he did the prequels for Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know. I don't know what happened with episode 9. I couldn't tell you. Oh boy. Anyway, see if we can get to 3 minutes.
It would work much better if they remade the original trilogy and rewrote the entire story so that it can fit with the sequels.
Don't give them ideas.
No, come on. We don't need more.
Can you imagine decanonizing 7 to 9 and just starting again? 7, the new sequels. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, because then we could make the argument, well, if you can do that, then we can also just decanonize the Disney movies instead. Haha.
Well, Solo never happened in my brain. That was horrible. Anyway. Okay.
They're all
Solo apparently never happened in Disney's brain.
Well, that's good for me.
Boy, they've been whisper quiet on Solo since that movie came out.
Oh boy.
But why?
So weird.
I don't know.
Such a weird film.
I never saw it. I was forced to sit through Rogue One, and it was agony.
I saw the first 3 minutes of Rogue One. I love the cinematography. I'm like, I'm good. That's all I wanted. It looks...
What, you don't like undead Peter Cushing?
Never got that far. Good.
The Imperial planet was so dumb.
Darth Vader sounded
the dumbest
so
thing
old.
I've seen in a long. This was the dumbest thing I'd seen since Game of Thrones.
James Earl Jones sounded like such an old man.
All right.
Which, I mean, he is. Like, he's like in his 90s.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Favreau said he still has his pipes.
I mean, he does. He just sounds like the pipes are a little rusty. And
a little bit there.
All right, let's continue on. Hopefully we'll get to 3 minutes before we run around the house to chill out, because this guy's driving us nuts.
Natural end result of Kylo's story. The story of every angry, misanthropic child with too much power and not enough morality or wisdom to use it.
His
only loyalty is to himself. And I know, it's equally frustrating for EU fans because they feel this kind of story was done already in the books, done differently and supposedly better, and that's okay. You don't have to like, accept, or even watch these movies if you don't want to. I mean, I sympathize. I'm a comic book fan, for crying out loud. I've been there.
I don't believe that.
I've seen how a reboot can take away the supposed authenticity of the previous canon. Reboots and retcons make...
These aren't reboots. This is a sequel. It's supposed to be in the same canon.
And you're admitting that it destroys the canon, so fuck off.
Like, you're not
Lucas
saying this wasn't a reboot.
Lucas was tricked out of it because he was made to believe that they'd use his notes and actually keep on with the canon, and then they just didn't do that, but did something else. That makes it not Star Wars.
Can you imagine JJ reading the notes that Lucas left and going, what the hell is this? How am I going to work with that? I don't think JJ...
I'll be honest, Lucas's notes were probably dumb.
Yeah, no,
because George Lucas is dumb.
Yeah, his ideas are crazy. I'm like, I can't imagine a mediocre writer, let alone a director like JJ going, I could work with this. Yeah, like, no, dude, you can't.
I mean, I can accept that notion, but then you could still at least claim, okay, that's still kind of from the original guy, even if it's weird.
Okay, if he hired writers to actually write, like Lucas wrote. Like he'd hire a writer, he would ghostwrite, or he would do something for Lucas. That would work. At least the writer.
I think he would have learned his. I think he had learned his lesson at that point, but he was too destroyed, so that he just gave the whole thing into other hands.
He was really sensitive.
When all he needed to have learned from the sequels is, okay, I should listen to editors. I should not surround myself with yes men. I should. Have the people who rein me in.
Not only that, but
it would turn out into something great.
He was tired
because all the other stuff that came out from the Skywalker Ranch was great.
Sure.
In all of those years, the video games, the movies, he had oversight over most of that stuff.
Yeah, and his creative control had been like, arm's length. He'd be like, yeah, you do this. I'll just make sure everything's looking good. I'll have a little stamp. Other than that, you guys have full control. But he really wanted to focus on his family, and that was totally fair to go away, step away, and say, hey, I'm going to hand it to, I think, the best entertainment company I could think of, which was Disney at the time, which at the time I think they were doing good stuff, as far as I remember.
Did I say movies? I meant novels.
Oh. Star Wars novels?
Yeah, I mean, lots of the stuff that came out of the Skywalker Ranch. It's where he was.
Yeah.
He knew what these people were doing.
If
they did too much bullshit, he would have intervened, I'm pretty sure.
The ILM stuff, he was still working there. He was signing checks personally to everyone. So he was very much involved with all the processes. Creatively is another story. And I think you need a little bit of an ego, a vision, which he sort of had. You have to remember, when you actually read his stuff, you can draw direct connections to Buck Rogers, to Kurosawa, to plot points in The Searchers from John Ford films. So he was not the most original guy. It was through the process of creating characters practically, through practical effects, doing costumes, doing makeup. That is where I really think Lucas came about. So when he came to technology like CGI, that is where he had to take a step back and say, okay, I can't do the math here, but these brilliant guys can. I can't do volumetric effects. I can't do fog effects. I can't do lighting as well. He's a multimillionaire at that point. Why should he? And then he just relied on those guys. Do this thing I want. And they show him 20 versions of that thing. He chooses the best one. Boom, that's in the film. That's it. There's no reason why. It just looks good. It sounds good. And we could fit it in there. The same time when he made the remastered versions, there was no reason to put all that crap in there. But he had the technology, and it looked better visually. Not to say it added to the lore, but that was the same concept when they had the Jabba the Hutt scene, when they changed Jabba from a man to a giant slug monster for no reason. So, yeah, fun times in the world of George Lucas when you got lots of film or lots of money, and you don't need to do too much work for it. Legacy. Okay, thank you, sir. A penguin with a gun is more threatening than Ren.
Yes.
I'm
thinking of the penguin from Azumanga Daioh.
I was thinking of Neon Genesis.
Pen is always threatening.
Yeah. But everything's threatening from Neon Genesis, so it doesn't matter. All right, we're at 3 minutes, guys. We could stop. I'm done. I'm pretty much, we're not going to get anything out of this guy worthwhile. But
just continue a bit.
Go for a minute or two. Yeah, okay, go for a minute.
Or at least just cut to the end.
Cut to the end.
For the last
Where
part.
he's screaming and saying it's an amazing comic book and everything's awesome. Yeah, okay. Let's do 1 minute.
You're just an istophobe for not liking it.
You're just an angry fanboy who just hates everything. It's like, no.
You're a toxic fan because you don't consume product.
Yeah, well.
You're not a blind cultist.
All right.
I'm sorry, don't buy the shitty stuff from the thing I like. I only buy the good stuff.
But the reality is, the majority of Star Wars fans, they've only seen the movies. They will only see the movies.
Okay.
Yeah, look, that's a relevant point, because if they only see the movies and the movies make no bloody sense, the movies are shit.
Why is he talking about the movies? Let's get back to the comic, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand what the point here is. Okay, the majority of fans will only ever see the movies. Yeah, that's the problem. Is they'll only see the movies, and the movies are steaming garbage.
Yeah, and all your paratext bullshit doesn't change a thing about the movies being shit. If you need a telephone book of explanations of how the movies work, your movies have failed. The writing is shit. They should be scrapped from existence. They should be treated as never having happened. They should be on par with the Christmas special.
Ever need to create a storyline for these characters versus something that happens in a book, which has a lot more room to.
Then why didn't they do that?
A book has a lot more room to maneuver?
Probably. Let's see.
A lot more characterization.
Okay, expand, but like,
you could do characterization in a movie just as well. It's just different format. Use narration. You could use fast cuts. You could do flashbacks. You could do collages, time skips. You could do all kinds of things.
And even
could have made Finn the main character.
Really fully develop a character, especially since that 2-hour movie also needs to give some time to the other characters in that limited time.
Why?
Like Snoke?
Why does it need to do that? Why do we need Canto Bite?
Oh, thanks for saving the animals. Oh, by the way, the children are still enslaved. And the animals are probably going to be caught later.
Yes, it's like we didn't need an entire 5-minute thing with Captain Akbar, Admiral Akbar.
Yeah,
because what we see of him as a side character is enough, and it gives him characterization. We instantly know he's competent, and he's interesting and cool.
Wouldn't it have been a lot better if they had like 10 minutes of Admiral Akbar just doing?
It would be better than the entirety of the Disney movies.
Yeah. Or you get blown up.
Yeah, he's just like ordering people around, like making sure the ship's okay. He's going crazy because he's one ship against like 200 or whatever the hell he was up against. And he's pulling his hair out. He's like, oh, I got to do this. Get the hell out of there. And he's like really old and angry. It'd be awesome. And he's fighting and he gets blown away. And he doesn't give a shit because it's his ship and he doesn't care about himself. He's just going to go down like a hero.
Yeah, and like... Yeah, okay, I agree. The movie needs to give time to the other characters. Guy, Snoke, is one of the other characters. But you're arguing that the movie doesn't need to give him any time. Is Snoke important or not? That's what I don't understand what point he thinks he's making here.
So movie is 2 hours long. It needs time to give to other characters. It's like, you're right. You can't focus all on one because there's so many. So why didn't they do that?
with
Yeah,
just having
the villain is one of the characters.
Instead of the whole doing the Canto Bight thing, you could have done that same time with Snoke backstory.
Yeah,
and maybe we would have cared then about the villain instead, because then you wouldn't just be a random cardboard cutout to be knocked down.
Yeah, get rid of Rose. We don't need her at all. She doesn't do anything.
She just fucks shit up.
She's a sister of someone who died. Oh, how tragic! I don't care. Keep going.
And she's obviously crazy.
Well, the way that those ships got destroyed and the the whole detonator thing dropping.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying Rose Tico is pathologically insane.
Sure, but if you're gonna make her a tragic character or redeeming character or someone off revenge or something, it's like give me a believable scene where I feel sorry that her sister died, as opposed to a comical scene that I'm questioning how the physics works and why the design was made this way and a bunch of other things that didn't quite make sense. Like, you know, make it really sad. Like she has a heroic sister who's better than her. Like maybe a flashback of them growing up and the sister is just awesome and she sucks. Rose is like the runt of the family and she sucks at everything. And then when her sister dies, she has all these mixed feelings, and that's a good 2 minutes of just focusing on those two. And then boom, big explosion. Rose is like, oh my God. And then she sits there for 10 seconds. All you have to do is have her sit there for 10 seconds. Like, you get it. What's going through her mind? Because you just had those 2 minutes of her just reliving that past and what she was striving to do.
For us would be war is bad.
War is bad. I love my sister even though I hated her. And now that she's gone, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and it would have been much better than this Canto Bight bullshit of, oh no, they sell to everyone.
Yeah, and that's it.
Oh my God.
That's it. Keep her there in the background doing background things, and maybe she's moody and looking at people in a strange way, but none of this plot related.
Which, by the way, is what Wall Street did during World War I and II. But we're not allowed to talk about that because then we are conspiracy theorists instead of historians.
Okay.
But it's okay to do it in Star Wars.
Yeah, with Snoke, all you would have to do for, again, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, have him talk about his past, what he was doing, how he got the First Order to come about, and how he got the Empire to come out, like just the basics. And that, like, you don't even have to do a collage. You don't have to do any of this nonsense of flashbacks and who he was. You could, it's faster that way, but you could just have normal dialogue explaining how. Get all the major questions. How do we get from A to B? Who is he? How strong is he? What's his relationship with the Emperor, the past Emperor, and the Republic? How is he a villain? What did he do? Did he kill anyone? Like basic stuff for us to go, oh, he has history. He has knowledge. He is a war leader. He got to that level out of respect, out of power, out of mind control. I don't care. Great. That's the thing. Fantastic. Let's keep going. Lots of things could have happened to solve these problems. And it would have taken, 5 minutes? 6? 3 characters each? Anyway. We'll go to 4 minutes and we'll jump ahead because this is just loud and obnoxious from this fellow.
His voice is really horrible.
It is. I've never turned it down this low. And I can still hear him very piercingly in my ears.
Frame. So it's a lot more condensed and a lot faster. You are free to prefer one continuity over another. But the filmmakers are...
But it's the same continuity. This is not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's not an alternate timeline. This is supposed to be the main Star Wars canon.
It's literally titled Episode A.
So
it's not supposed to be fan fiction.
Yeah, there are, as I said, there are elements in the comic which are added to clarify what's going on, but the same events happen. The same main plot points occur. So the continuity is roughly the same. I don't know what he means by this. Can you imagine a comic based the adaptation of the movie to the comic being different to the point where it's like 50% or it's like it doesn't matter what continuity. It's like what? It doesn't matter. Well, apparently the comic didn't care, so why should I? Like what?
And why is he acting like only EU fans have a problem with this?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've read some of the EU novels. I've read the Thrawn trilogy and it was good, but I would have been okay if they had not used the Thrawn trilogy, or even if they had, but they had set it way down the line, like with new characters, but still just had Thrawn, which apparently they used Thrawn in Rebels, I guess, or something.
Yeah, a bit watered down, but it still got across that he is actually a very competent and menacing character.
Right. But like, if they had told another story and not used the EU canon, fine. The problem is not that it's different. The problem is that it's terrible.
Yeah.
And there's EU content that was terrible.
Yeah.
So the problem, like, I didn't want the story I had in my head. I just wanted something good, and we didn't get that.
Yeah. You could have cherry-picked the good stuff from the EU, or you could have made your own new shit that works. But instead, it's a terrible, badly written, inconsistent, self-contradictory mess that has... I'm not even sure whether to call these characters. It's written by a toddler. It's written by a toddler with I don't know, some schizoid thing with a personality split or something. I have no idea what this is.
Okay, we're going to go on for the 30 seconds, and then we're going to jump ahead because I don't know what he's talking about.
Everyone involved in the writing process, as well as anyone who greenlit it, should have been thrown out of Hollywood forever. Like barred from the city.
Trying their own story in a smaller amount of time, and they're not really thinking about, wait, how does this measure up to this character in a novel decades ago?
But I don't need them to think about that. I just need them to think about, wait, why does this character exist, and what is his motivation, and how did we get from point A to point B? I don't need you to measure him against Grand Admiral Thrawn. I just need him to make sense. And he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
My issue with Snoke is not that he's not as good a villain as Thrawn. My issue with Snoke is that he doesn't make any sense. Him and his entire faction that is stronger, larger, and more powerful than the Empire ever was appears out of nowhere, and we don't get a reason for it. We don't know where he came from. We don't know how he got such a strong army. Like, a real-life equivalent would be, like, the Mongol hordes appearing from the east, right? That's an outside context problem to, the Roman Empire, to Europe. But we know where Genghis Khan came from. We have an explanation for Genghis Khan because we know what the planet looks like. We don't know what the Star Wars universe looks like. We don't know where Snoke was or where he came from, at least in Episode 8. They slapdash together some nonsense in Episode 9, but he doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for a historical equivalent, and since I like to say that the Empire is just the Nazis, which isn't entirely true, imagine 1945, the Nazis have been beaten. Okay, cool. World War II over. 30 years later, everything's normal in Europe, America, Asia, Africa. Suddenly, the Nazis reappear stronger than they have ever been from the Atlantic.
From Argentina.
And there's
from the Bermuda Triangle. Right.
Yeah, and they now have Super Hitler.
No, it's Ghost Super Hitler.
Yeah, and they are now
and America
disintegrating, disintegrating continents.
Yeah. America's sees the threat, does nothing for 10, 20 years. You're like, what? Really? And then the Nazis take over parts of America, and you're like, what? Really? And they become bigger than America, and you're like, there's this giant other continent called New Nazi Germany, and you're like, what? How did that get there? You just keep going and going until the Americans become the resistance, and you're just like, what? They're the super.
Yeah, because we basically have to go into Hollow Earth explanations or Nazi moon bases or something like that. Because that's how far we have to stretch it to make this work in the Star Wars context.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous once you start thinking of the galactic size of all the worlds and what the Republic became.
And because war is so bad, after beating the Nazis, the Americans and Russians and Chinese, they all decide to destroy all their weapons forever. They demilitarize. Yeah. Everyone demilitarizes after World War II because war was so bad.
Yeah, and apparently...
And 30 years later, the Nazis are back.
Yeah, and they
I don't know.
They took children from villages and raised them as war children, and they're just loyal to the Empire. We don't know where they came from, who they got, how they got them. And everyone is now just this gigantic empire of random stolen children. No one bats an eye. There's barely any disgruntled people out there. You've got gigantic women as lieutenants or captains or whatever in magical armor and
Valkyries.
And it's just everyone's like, yeah, that's normal. It's okay. We're okay.
Makes sense. Makes total.
All right, 20 more seconds, and we're gonna jump ahead to see the end of this thing, because
I don't think we need to jump ahead. I think let's try to make it 18 seconds and we can be done.
Okay.
17 minutes.
All right.
And personally, I think they did a great job with it in this movie.
I don't care what you think, Louis.
Stop talking about the movie.
And your facial expressions are betraying you. You do not actually believe this. This is why I think he's paid.
Well, and he spent the first 3 minutes of this 20-minute review of a comic book talking about the movie.
This is him reading a script and trying to act like when you write a script, like you're going to say stuff, like in a speech, and he's like trying to react naturally. It's like, dude, you're not coming across with the proper emotion. He's just shaking his head and looking around.
Well, I mean, he did say the ending to Earth just getting eaten up by a giant plant monster. Oh, that's a happy ending. Good old Linkara calling a horrifying ending a happy ending.
What did he say this about?
Oh, there's this one Junji Ito manga where it's just a giant monster planet devours the Earth, and people are just in the bunker with about like a month or weeks supply of air and food and water, and that's a happy ending. That's a bleak ending.
He called that a happy ending?
A happy ending, and he goes, I don't care. It's not a bleak ending, it's a happy ending somehow.
What movie?
No, it's not a movie, it's a manga.
Oh.
And it's just, how can you say that's a happy ending? That's bleak.
Yes, yeah.
It's like it's bittersweet in the way of, they're gonna live, but for how long?
And the whole point here is this is his whole. You just heard his entire argument in favor of why this is a good thing, because he likes it. He thinks they did a good job.
So because movie good, comic book good. Yeah,
I guess
it's a weird argument.
I don't believe him.
You can have.
I don't think he believes what he says.
Yeah, you could have a bad book and a good film. You could, like, Dune is a great example. Really good books, for the most part, the trilogy at least. Adaptations, a little strange. The first film was really weird. The Children of Dune adaptation was good, at least. Clear. Not as good as, I would say, the books, of course. And I didn't see the latest version, the one that came out a few years back. Heard that was
okay.
Good.
It has a few errors, but it's okay.
Yeah, I heard it.
All right, we made it 4 seconds. We need to just get through this.
I understand what your issue is with his voice, because holy shit, he sounds like one of these little plastic trumpets for children that's constantly making blaring noises.
Yeah,
at random, at without proper volume control.
I remember why I stopped watching him, because that was like 2 years ago with Shiny and LitDev, and I just couldn't believe this guy. Like, he was so ridiculous. Not
imagine. So this guy's married. Imagine in the morning waking up to this voice next to you.
Well,
no, better question.
I'm assuming
waking up to his wife.
Well, I'm assuming this is an act. He's pronouncing things.
He says he's playing. He says he plays a character when he's playing Linkara.
Well, we
but
hope that.
I don't know, like, to what extent it's actually a character.
I'm not sure. After
well, if that's the case, it's even less likely to believe him that he actually has this opinion, and this instead just a paid shill.
I don't think he's.
Well, he doesn't look genuine to me. He doesn't look like he believes what he says.
Well, that's because his facial muscles are buried behind layers of fat, so it's hard to tell what facial expression he's making.
His eyes and his entire body movements tell enough.
It's like they replaced the old version of him with a new one. Just claim, oh, this has always been Lewis. That's the only possible theory.
Well, he's got a scarf, 2 hats, and a wreath of flashing light bulbs around him. And
well, I mean, this was obviously made around Christmas time, and
it just looks
goofy.
Maybe it's a Christmas noose.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's finish the 20. Yeah.
Make it through the last
10 seconds. There we go.
Yeah, whatever.
I hope I have helped explain why I think they did a great job with it. But I admit, I may not have swayed you. Just as all the arguments I've heard about why people hate this movie have failed.
His script.
Oh my god, he is.
He's reading. But he has the same dead stare to the left and to the right. So I think he's just
reading,
brain dead, staring into the distance.
Yeah, he's reading the script off his computer in front of him. That's all it is. And he's too focused on that to actually bother to look like he's natural.
His stare isn't focused in one direction. It's just a stare.
Yeah, he's reading across the screen
into the what kind of giant screen is this?
Honestly, I would have found it funny if someone just made a parody video of this where it's just you could see the script in his glasses.
So
he's like, I hope my arguments explain why. Maybe my arguments about why this is good haven't convinced you. Well, you haven't made any. You just said it was, and said that they don't have enough time to do it.
Opinions are not arguments.
All right, so there's I'm going to stream memes because I'm tired of this fellow already.
Well, at least get to the end.
You seriously want to go to the end?
I want to see the end. Just go to the end.
The last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes of insanity.
Fuck it.
Do we really have to? It just took us 10 minutes to get through 4 seconds.
All right. What is this?
Oh wait, no, back a little. Just slide back. Oh, there's his wife. There's his little honey.
No way.
Holy hell.
No way.
Oh, and like the 16.
You're joking.
All right, let's try this.
Of movies at this point. And that's it for the holiday.
Why are you still talking about movies 14 minutes later?
In the end, we're all here because we all love Star Wars and can come together in peace.
Oh, watch this piece of hypocrisy.
Against the forces of darkness. This is the promise of the Tree of Life. Happy Life Day, my friends.
What?
No way.
Rise of Skywalker sucked!
Oh God, it sucked! What the hell?
Oh, okay. We can't complain.
Because it retconned this awful movie of TLJ somewhat.
The promise of the Tree of Life? Is he a born again Christian? Like, what is that?
Life Day. And I don't think Life Day had trees. Well, it probably did because it was a Wookiee holiday, but it's making reference to the holiday special.
Oh,
and just the whole thing of probably him saying, "Oh, we did need these fucking deleted."
We all love Star Wars. Well, I don't love Star Wars anymore because Disney decided to take Star Wars, burn it, piss on it. It's like Disney's strategy seems to be systematically undermine everything that was ever good about Star Wars because people like Star Wars and they don't like Disney Star Wars. So let's just take our time ruining everything about original Star Wars because that way we'll look better by comparison.
There it is. There's the gift.
Standard narcissistic way of making things better by destroying everything else.
I don't know what's happening. I have no context for this GIF, but it always makes me laugh. Like, what the heck is going on?
All right, we have stream memes. Let's look
yeah.
at them.
Linkara. Okay, let's try this.
Well, I'm going to leave you alone with Linkara. How about that?
That's 54 seconds, guys. I'll watch that later. Evil Linkara be like, I have a burning desire to interact with Oni plays. One play? What? I don't know what that Oni plays.
Oni plays.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was this thing where Oni Plays made like a parody video of Linkara, and he had like a meltdown about it.
I have no idea who that is, and I don't care.
Some guy who makes.
You can buy his angel armor for $10. Interesting.
$10? Fuck off, con artist. $10 for this crap.
Behold the Lightbringer Year 1. Angel armor, Lewis. Okay. Interesting font.
He looks like H.P. Lovecraft.
He looks like he's 13. What is that?
I think he was 15.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Oni Plays versus Linkara.
Actually, he looks like Bob Saget.
Is that before he got fat?
Yes, he's like 15 in the picture.
He looks like a human.
So Jacob posted a 4.5 meg MP4 file about Oni Plays. I will watch that because I don't know what the whole video is about with him and losing his mind over whatever some guy said. I'll check it out later. I created the Wojak with nothing but Procreate and my finger.
It's not repulsive enough.
Yeah, that's too well done to be a soy jack.
Great. It looks great, but it's not repulsive enough.
Face needs to be more melted looking.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is that an app that can do that? Just boom. Your finger, like one finger. That's pretty good.
Oh my god, he looks like he's
terrifying.
He looks like he's pushing 60 in that last picture.
Linkara to his wife after watching Rise of Skywalker. Is this how the people who hate The Last Jedi feel?
Look at him. He looks so old.
And then he had a thing for Iron Liz.
I don't know about old. I know 30-year-olds that look like that. But he looks defeated.
Well, it's one frame, so who knows? He's usually very animated over breathing, so who knows what he's talking about.
By the way, if you hadn't told me that is his wife, I couldn't tell the sex of that person.
Well, anyway, I'm glad he's happy. Good for him.
Funny story about Linkara's ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Iron Liz. The Iron Liz. Oh, no.
I have heard that name too, and I have absolutely no idea.
Apparently, Iron Liz leaving Linkara was a lot better for Iron Liz than it was for Linkara. Because from what I understand, Iron Liz is relatively well adjusted these days.
Oh, I think there's she has a comic on the Lightbringer, but it's not his comic. It's just a better version somehow. I'm not making that up.
All right. I'm assuming that's all Channel Awesome history. I don't care. It's good for him. Good for her. Anyway, that was painful. That was it's hard to watch videos I physically can't pay attention to. But when you do, it's like everything they say is nuts or wrong or subjective nonsense. So that's why I stopped listening to this guy years ago. And I never started. I just watched him through Smudcast or through podcasting. And wow, there are reasons for that. So those are them. Yeah, I don't know how that got through. I don't know why you guys voted for that, but you did. Like this, we did 2 voting methods. So you guys, the people on the Discord in general voted for it. It won. And then we did a second voting with just the Smudcast people on the panel here. And you guys went for it. So
I forgot what the other two options were.
Yeah, because I think Mateus, who made
they didn't get any votes.
The title was different than the actual video, so I didn't know what the hell to look for. So yeah. But yeah, that was probably the last time I'll ever cover Linkara. Linkara is just painful, like physically painful. Sadly.
Oh god, one of them was a Renegade cut video.
Oh, really? Wow.
Somehow nobody voted for it.
Well, it's been a few months.
That is so strange. Why would nobody vote for Renegade cut?
Yeah. Well, maybe they're missing him. I don't know. Who knows?
What? The people who don't vote for him?
The people who haven't heard his video in a while. Yeah, they might want to watch him again or cover him again.
But nobody voted for him.
There's at least one vote in there.
That's the bot. That's the bot setup.
Oh yeah.
A Renegade cut video too, so we had to choose between two Channel Awesome cast-offs.
I don't know from whom video B is, so that might also be one.
All right.
Oh god! Is half the bane we have to deal with the fallout from Channel Awesome?
Fat mafia boss? What?
Don't know. Don't know
Wait, what the hell do you say?
Whoever named them, I don't know.
Oh, it was a video about autism.
How Riddler portrayed.
Oh, don't make me angry
how to
today.
portray an autistic film. Kingpin's just a freaking motherfucker. I don't know about autistic.
Don't make me angry by having to watch bullshit about autism. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad technique to have your villains or whomever have a psychological condition and then have notes. This is what it is. This is what it isn't. It's like, just don't do that. Just have a normal guy.
And then on the poll, which did not make the final poll, we also had a Nostalgia Critic video. So there were 3 different Channel Awesome members to choose from. 2 successful and 1 cast off.
Wow.
The fallout of Channel Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
The bane of the internet.
Well, arguably there are worse people out there than Channel Awesome people to cover.
Yeah, sure. Could have covered Pillar of Garbage's Reva video.
No.
Well, I'm sure the writers on Obi-Wan are racist and sexist. That's just how it goes, guys. So it's
no, not the writers, the fans.
Oh, just the fans? That's why the show sucks, the fans?
Wait, but if they don't like it, how are they fans?
No, Reva is well written. It's
really?
just fans don't like her because they're racist.
The fans of Obi-Wan or the fans of Star Wars?
The force-powered parkour? That's amazing, right? Where she
I'm
goes
not
nowhere?
Poisoned enough to know the answer to that question.
I've seen reviews because other people on YouTube hack the heck out of that show, how bad it was. There is a 20-second compilation of Reva with, I guess, her stunt double on strings and doing parkour over buildings.
Oh yeah,
going the wrong way. Like she's just running across buildings. Like, why are you doing that?
Work was so bad in that show.
Oh, she jumps like a fucking. I don't know, like a little. She just jumps like an animal.
A frog animal? Yeah, you don't know exactly. It's kind of like
it's unnerving. Just get it away.
Listen, Mike. I think what you're forgetting here is in 1977, a stunt guy bumped his head on a door.
Oh, shut up. 70s is better than this shit. At least you didn't see the fucking strings on the guy in the 70s.
No, Star Wars was always bad because a stunt guy bumped his head on a door once.
That's such a fucking bullshit excuse. I hate it.
And it's always that clip, too. It's always that same...
Oh, he bumped his head. Oh, I'm sorry that the guy got hurt on set. But that's silly. Okay.
So first, it's everything is justified that happens in the movies, and it's greatly written. And then it's but there was an error in the OT, so it's allowed to be shit. Because it was always shit.
Yeah.
And then it will be it's shit on purpose because it's what we wanted to do. And then it's gone full circle, and we can say, so you now admit that it's shit. And that you did it on purpose, which we also accused you of. Okay. Why not say so from the start?
All right, guys. Well, I think that's enough of our time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, I don't think we're ever going to cover Linkara again. That was painful, physically,
terrible.
intellectually. Trying to use our memory to recall what the hell he's talking about. All these dumb things, for me at least. Yeah, guys, please don't vote for him anymore. Greg Walker, or Doug Walker, rather. We could cover him again, I guess.
Greg Walker?
I can't. Yeah, I think it's Doug.
It is Doug.
Yeah.
Doug and his brother.
Fuck it. We're going to call him Greg now.
It's up to you. We can cover him. He does have some good videos to cover that aren't crazy. Aside from his skits, which are kind of
painful.
Yeah, no, Doug is just a lousy movie critic. He's not outwardly a nut, at least.
Sure.
He might be a nut. I don't know.
In personal, in the stories I've heard of him in public are weird, but I don't care. It's his personal life. I don't really want to talk about that. So thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for your suggestion. Channel awesome again.
Yeah.
Interesting choices, but we will see you tomorrow, hopefully, if we're not too busy and not too tired from recovering after this fellow. And having a nice, relaxing sleep and something strong in the morning, if that's your thing, but for someone isn't. So, anyway, thank you so much for your time. Keep the suggestions coming. We'll be happy to take them into consideration, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.